and welcome to Transformation Now. I'm Rita Rocker Kraft, international author, speaker, and coach with SoaringHigher.rocks, and I want to welcome you today and just share some really important tips, techniques, ideas, thoughts with you from my new book, Shaping Your Future, Becoming the Brand Everyone Wants. And that means not only a brand that affects our careers, but also our relationships, our home life, other social events. And so you are a brand. You know, we think of a brand as a package of something, a certain brand of toothpaste, a brand of cereal, etc. But you are your own brand. And so what you put into your brand, thoughts, ideas, quality, impressions, those are all things that create your brand of who you are. And so we'll be talking about information. It's sort of a study guide that college professors will be using, but it's also information that I'd be happy to share with you. And it helps take you through a series of thoughts, ideas, events, creativity, things that can step you forward into the life you want if it's not exactly where you want to be right now. And so when we talk about, I talked about last time, you know, going back to the future, so to speak, and sitting down quietly with a notebook and a pen, try to move your phone and your computer away from you so that it's just you and your thoughts and ideas and remembrances, thinking of memories and thinking of opportunities that might be ahead. Sit down with your notebook and get rid of the rest of that so that you can really concentrate. Now, some people might have to lock themselves in the bathroom if it's a busy house, or go sit in the car or something like that. Hopefully you can get some time where you can really stop and think about these things. You know, what if your wildest dreams would come true? How would that be? So I'm going to be going over some things in the book and talking with you about that. And this is just kind of a basic outline. But you know, you always want to work backward. What is your ultimate goal? You want to write that down at the top and then think of all the steps. You can maybe do some research. What kind of steps do I need to take to get here? This is what I'm doing right now. It never really was what I wanted to do, but how do I get over here? And so think about that. Research. Think of people who are doing the exact thing you want to be doing. And then, you know, look up their bios. Look up information and the things that they had to do to get to that point. That is so important. You know, a lot of times we think, oh, just overnight, man, sometimes it is overnight. Like I mentioned in the last program with America's Got Talent and American Idol, sometimes it really is overnight. But what happened before that overnight success? They worked up to that point behind the scenes. And so that's what we can do. So when the door opens and there's an opportunity that walks across our path, we're already prepared because we've been working on this while we've been working in another job, taking care of family, dealing with issues, but we've been working on this and never let those thoughts go. Now we're mentally prepared to get out there and really do something about it. You met someone. I truly believe sometimes there are, you meet one person, not necessarily for a relationship with them, whether it's business or personal, but they in turn are a stepping stone to meeting someone else who is the contact you were meant to have, or maybe one down the road from there. And so always think about that so that your mind is going forward and you're preparing for these steps. But always picture in your mind what you want to do, and so you can lay the steps. One of the things I need to do then is take some courses or at least some online training to learn this step, and this step. I need to join an organization where people are like-minded in this area. Our empowerment breakfasts are coming back to Omaha. I'm so excited. And so, you know, you can think of some organizations like that. Go to the meetings, meet people who can also be stepping stones. And so, you know, there are mentors. Maybe you are so awesome at something that someone else needs, and yet they're awesome at something you need. And so a lot of times people will barter their talents and teach each other, or maybe you can do some awesome bookkeeping for them, and then they can watch your kids while you go to school, etc. So even think of things like that that will help you, give you the time, the resources to go after those things, to research and see what kind of steps do I need to take. Do I want to be a coach? Do I need to get out there and be more physically fit myself? Do I need to work out every day, or just work out every day to feel better? Whatever the case may be. So think about this. What do I need to do that's really going to get me out there? I'll feel better physically, mentally. I'll have the training that I need. What is it? I'll have a new friend or a new organization that'll be right there behind me, cheering me on. It's all out there. Sometimes we just have to spend a little time looking for it, and I always pray for it as well. And so think about that, how you want to look and feel, what you want your bank account to be, how you intend to use that, what kind of family and social life do you want? Are there people that you need to kind of move away from and start seeking out the kind of people you want to hang out with because they have your new mindset? That's happened to me a lot over the years, different changing of relationships to do that. And so think about positive characteristics. List the attributes that you have right now. And I know some of you probably think, I don't have any. I don't have any talents. I don't have any attributes. Oh, yes, we all have attributes. We're all God's kids. We all have good attributes. It could be maybe we're a good mediator of children's fights. Maybe we're the most awesome baker or cook, and everybody loves our stuff. I mean, I'm talking about every area. Maybe we have a heart to really bless people and be there for them. And, maybe other people are so confused. I don't know what to do with my taxes. I have no idea what I'm doing with my checkbook. But you have that talent. You may not be using it in your job, but you have a talent that you can go help someone else with, and vice versa. So I think especially in this day and age, we need to do a lot of how can I help someone else and also get the help that I need in a particular area. And as we do that, we're going to build up a lot more positive, loving community. And so think about those things. Record the traits necessary to exchange, like I talked about before, so that we can help each other and barter products, barter services with each other. And I remember one time after I had back surgeries and problems with my back, and I had only kind of messed around with golf a little bit, but what I did was I thought, I really can't play golf anymore, and I have a friend who actually needs some money, but she's also my hairdresser. So I gave her my golf clubs in exchange for several opportunities doing my hair and taking care of it. So that may sound a little crazy, but hey, it worked. And so there's a lot of things that we can do in that respect to, switch things with each other so that we're helping each other out. And so then, you add your date onto that. We want to rebuild, restore, redistribute, or revise any current habits and lifestyle that we have, as I've mentioned before. And sometimes it's a lot of work, sometimes it's painful, but we can do it. And just a new life emerges. It's so much better. So where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in your life? What do I wish to change? Again, is it my health? That could be eating, that could be exercise. Sometimes health is affected by negative relationships. That can affect our health as well. Career, do I need to change my career? Am I afraid to change my career because I'm afraid I might fail? I'm afraid they will reject me, won't hire me, etc. No. If you go where your heart is, you're going to succeed for sure. Do I need a new neighborhood? Sometimes that will help too, just praying for the right neighborhood to get into where it just feels like a whole different environment, a whole different world. And so a lot of times that could make a difference. What friends, family members, jobs, or other areas in my life do I need replaced? I've talked about that a lot because it's so true that so many times we just push that in the corner and, oh, well, I'm afraid to do that. I don't want to lose this or that. Sometimes when people make a drastic move in their life for the better, I know a lot of people like this right now, family members, kids, whoever, might say, nah, go away, we don't want you anymore. And I just want to encourage you that, a lot of times I've had friends, a family of friends. So if you don't have family, pray for a family of friends. They can be your family. I've experienced that. And a lot of times they're just awesome family members. So think about that. Which relationships are positive, which are negative, what will it take to transform my life? And I have a lot of examples in the book, but I've talked to you about some of those. And so think about those things. This is really holding me back. However, if I change this a little bit, wow, this is going to open up a whole new door for me. Who can I turn to for support? And if you don't know anybody, pray about it for support. God, please lead me to, someone who can be a support for me, help train me, help encourage me, whatever the case may be, help me find a new home. Those type of things, they're out there. And then you be support to others as well. What is preventing me from stepping out? Are they real or perceived roadblocks? Because sometimes the roadblock is a real one. For the time being, you are a caregiver, you're going through something yourself, etc. But sometimes, a lot of times, a roadblock is a perceived roadblock. Oh, I can't do that, I've never done that before. Well, I didn't go that far in school, blah, blah, blah. That's a perceived roadblock, because the most successful women I know that have made the most money, none of them have had any college. That's just one example. So it's not like you have to follow a certain criteria to be successful in your area. You can work your way up and through that. I see, I've had a lot of hospitalizations, and I've seen where maybe a nurse is starting out as a CNA, but they're working while they're going to school to be a registered nurse, and then maybe a registered nurse is actually working their full-time nursing job and going to school to be a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant or a doctor. And so we can do that. We can take those steps one at a time as we move our way through. So think about the words and the treatment and that you're allowing yourself to tell yourself, as well as allowing other people to do and to say. And then you know where to shut the door and where to open it. What old damaging thoughts are still lingering? I've talked to people that, you go through all the exercises, some of these we've talked about, et cetera, and there's still things that keep trying to hit them in the back of the head. And those are when we have to switch our thoughts around that we'll talk about. But think about those steps and removing whatever needs to be, changing whatever needs to be, and that makes such a powerful difference. So holding on to negative past events, there's a lot in the book about that. And that's a process, again, that will destroy life and career. So it's giving them the boot. And sometimes you may have to do that 25 times a day. The same thought or one similar to it comes into your head, and it's like, nope, I'm booting that thing out of there. And it's like, I'm not a failure. I'm successful. I'm God's kid. I'm smart. I have a brain. I'm very good at coaching, baseball, ballet, whatever the case it is. Okay, so think about those things that you are good at. Everyone has talents and abilities to use. So never let anybody say, oh, you're just a failure. One of my nephews, his dad always said, shut up, you don't have anything to say. Well, that's still affecting him as an adult. So those are times we kick it out and say, I do have a lot to say. I'm a very valuable person. So again, do the feelings and habits that I'm retaining, are they of any worthwhile purpose, first to myself, yes or no? Are they really worthwhile? Are they worthwhile to my family? Are they worthwhile and beneficial to my career? Sit down and really think of that, because sometimes thoughts will pop into your head and you go, oh my gosh, I never even thought about that, but yes, that's a good thing or that's not a good thing. And do they help me move forward with my goals? Think about that. Do they hold me back into my uncomfortable comfort zone? You'd be surprised if you ask yourself these questions, what you'll come up with in the quiet. Why or why not? And then do they work in my favor in any way? Why or why not? So those are just some things to think about too, as far as you really doing a self-assessment for your future and your family's future, your career, etc. In chapter 2, I talk about create your success-driven mental GPS through auto-suggestion techniques. And the more we do this, the more we flip thoughts that are going through our head or flip what someone else has just said to us, the easier it is to go down a good path. And so you finally get to the point where, well, I know what they just said, but I don't believe it. I don't receive it. I'm tossing that one. And it doesn't even bother you anymore. Because a lot of times we have to think of, why did they say that? Where is that coming from? And it's kind of like, hey, that's your problem, not mine. And so sometimes we need to think about that. That's your problem. Why are you saying that? And it's because they don't want you to move away. They don't want you to be successful if they're not, etc. And it's just like, nope, nope. Just like my pastor said, don't write, don't speak. He proved them wrong. He did just the opposite. And we all have that ability to do that. So you might think of auto-suggestion techniques stating the exact opposite of what's coming up here in your head. It could be, you're not as smart as, you're not as good as, you're not worthy, you're not as, intelligent or as creative or as athletic as your brother or your sister, et cetera, et cetera. You might be thinking, I am embarrassed of my home or my car, so I don't want people to know where I live or what I drive. I know, I've been there. I understand that one. Nobody at work likes me. Quite often when we feel like we're not liked, we're giving off that feeling. Someone very close to me, she has always had self-loathing, always felt she was unworthy from young. And so she wondered why people seemed to be rejecting her or not coming up and talking to her, approaching her, or showing much interest in her. Why was that? Because her self-loathing was so bad that that's the kind of energy she was projecting. And people treat us the way we treat ourselves. So if we think I'm not worthy, nobody's going to want to talk to me, guess what? Nobody wants to talk. And so people will feel that energy. Energy is huge. It's critical. And if we're giving off angry energy, we might have been in the greatest mood ever, and then something happened. And so by the time we get home from work where it happened, it's like, oh, grouchy wet blanket here. And so then what does that do to the family? Oh, boy. Okay, then there's maybe stress. There's all kinds of things that can go on. And it could be reversed. Maybe, everybody at work was happy that day and you walked in and you had a bad morning or something like that and grouchy. And then that energy is amazing. We can switch our energy around. If we want to scream in the car and then get out of the car and go into the work, get that out. But think about your energy. And that happens a lot with nobody likes me, I'm going to be rejected. It happens a lot. And no, that's energy you're projecting. You can say, I'm made in God's image. I'm a beautiful child of God. I am strong. I am smart. You have to say those things to yourself when you have that, oh, nobody likes me feeling, because it's a lie. It's not the truth. I want to change my job, my career, but I'm not qualified. It's so easy to take what we consider our liabilities and compare them to someone else's, what we consider their assets. And again, that is some thinking that you'd want to turn around. And so it's like, well, I didn't finish my degree. I don't really have the professional wardrobe. I've been a bargain shopper all my life. You can find some really good deals. But think about what that is. But I'm not qualified. A lot of times employers will hire someone who has the better attitude, the better motivation, more engaged in talking to the hiring people, etc., the energy that they're giving off. A lot of times an employer will hire that person who does not have as much technical or educational experience as someone who does, but there's not that connection there, And so just think, maybe I don't have all the education yet. Show them that you're willing to get whatever training, qualifications are necessary. But I see it over and over again. People can get jobs they want more by their attitude, their outlook, their gratitude, carrying on those positions. Watch successful people, whether it's on TV. I don't mean a lot of the ones that are on there now, but watch people that are truly good, successful people and see how they act. I tell people sometimes too, when you're watching TV for about 5 minutes, here and there, different programs, turn the volume off and watch their body signals only. What do you feel when you see them angry or happy or whatever the case may be, because that's what we're giving off. Those are, in this case, it would be called a silent body signal because you turn the volume off. But what you're going to see is how people are reacting, because no matter what someone says, if they say something nice, but you can tell their eyes have resentment in them, or they're stiff, etc., then you know something's not quite right there, or vice versa. And so always think about that energy. You are qualified in so many ways. So get out there, learn those things you need to do, and be really engaged with conversations with people, and show them that you're excited and you're interested. And that makes such a difference. And if someone says, well, where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 years? Obviously, you don't want to say, oh, I see myself as, vice president of the company, and you're starting out at a lower level, because then they know, oh, they're just trying to hurry up and get through, to something else. So show your value in where you are, where you want to be in the company, and then grow with the company. What's wrong with me? Why don't I have a better car, a better home, a nice partner? Why don't I have this, or why am I not that? So you have to change those around. I am smart. I'm a child of God. My car, my home, my clothes, as long as they're clean and you're well groomed and all that kind of stuff, that does not determine my value and my worth. And I know through media and different things, a lot of times, well, I have to have the best of everything, otherwise I'm lower class. No. So cars, homes, all of that does not determine anyone's worth at all. Like I've mentioned maybe a couple times in the past, that young girl who had no parents, and then this lady took her in as a foster child. She was 17, I think, and she entered the Miss USA, Teen USA pageant with a $39 dress compared to some of these hundreds of dollar gowns. And she had a foster mom, no family, and the lady tried to kind of decorate up the dress and her clothes that she was going to wear. And this little girl won the Miss Teen USA pageant, not with what she had to wear or her life experiences, which were really rugged up to that point, but she knew who she was inside. And the same with all of us. Know who you are inside. Doesn't matter if you grew up in shelters. I've seen so many success stories of people who grew up in shelters. And so we can't let that stop us either. What's wrong with me? Why don't I have this and that again? So think about that. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm making new choices now. I'm going forward. And so always think about that and rewrite whatever you said, whatever your thought was, rewrite the opposite of it and write it down. So seriously, write it down so that you can start focusing and thinking on, wow, yeah. Even if you don't feel that way, even if you don't feel that smart or like you're gorgeous, or think about those things, write the exact opposite. You create what you think about. And it's amazing how that turns around. Pushing through to your destiny, and again, always think of energy. I can't stress that enough. I'm not into a lot of weird energy things, but I have noticed as I become more focused on it, sometimes I'll go, oh my gosh, I came in kind of cranky and irritated about something, and then I threw that energy off on other people, or they did the same thing and threw it back on me. Am I going to accept that energy? Nope. And so always think about that energy. And I know sometimes I've even thought when I listened to something, I was a speaker, and maybe I totally disagreed with, or had issues with what the person was saying. And of course, everybody has a right to their own opinion. But then I sat there and I went, oh gosh, I am making all kinds of faces, not meaning to, and I'm just sitting there quietly, in a group of people, but I thought, whoa, watch the face, because I was giving, I don't think the person even saw me, but I mean, it's like, oh, we have to be really careful what kind of facial expressions we're giving off, etc. So any negative energies that you want to give off, but then also get rid of. Think about energy. Think about that all the time, and that feeling. Is it giving you a feeling of happiness? Is it giving you a feeling of failure, of anger? What are those energies doing? And then you know how to conquer them. Go, no, I'm not going to let that bother me. That's their problem. I'm fine. And so always tell yourself, others may seek to influence your life in ways that may cause turmoil, chaos, uncomfortable encounters that you really should not live with. It's them that you determine Yes, but this is okay because it works for my family, myself, or my future. Why would it have a positive effect? So ask yourself that, because will it or won't it? Or your answer might be no, this is not okay and will cause more disruption, financial loss, or pain. Then you know that there are steps that need to be done. Or I need more information to convince me this is a favorable experience in relationship. So what I need to do next is sit and think about it and then take those steps. So I trust this was very helpful for you today, and I look forward to continuing this in the next program. I wish you all the best and know that you are awesome. You have lots of skills and abilities, and so start thinking about those, plant seeds, and grow. Thank you so much.